Everyone, and thank you for this opportunity to be with you once again. It's such a joy to share the science of mind, especially these early introductory chapters in the Science of Mind text. The Science of Mind philosophy can seem very heady and intangible and like a ponderous study. You know what ponderous means from those massive trees you have all around you. In order to actually benefit our lives, though, we have to make a practical application of the principles. So all month long, you've been hearing about, what it is and how it works and all that kind of stuff. But Ernest Holmes says if we don't practice the science of mind, it's pretty much useless. I mean, those are my words, not his, but it doesn't matter unless you can feel it and prove it in your own life. So my first run through the science of mind, if you're just getting familiar with that large tome, left me thinking, what exactly is he talking about? The language from the 20s and the early 1900s was unfamiliar to me, and his phrasing, and he quoted people and I didn't know who he was quoting, and it just left me with so many questions. What does he mean by demonstration? What does he mean about proving it? Prove what, So I needed to get from the place where what I was really wondering was, how do I get the principle off the page and into my life? Yes? Today, this will be our focus. How to use the science of mind to better our experience of life. In order to manifest in our lives, spirit has to work through us. Ernest Holmes says this over and over again. If we think this will never work, that circumstances will never get better, then, well, they won't. Hence, it follows. I love this little piece in this chapter because it cracks me up every time and shows me his dry sense of humor. Hence, it follows that if we believe that it will not work, it really works by appearing to not work. When we believe it cannot and will not, then according to the principle, it does not. But then when it does not, it still does, only according to the belief that it will not. You can find that on page 52 of the Science of Mind text. We cannot think and feel negatively over a period of time and have positive situations maintained in our life. We become what we think about all day long. Now, this takes a little bit of work, and always remembering that form is never final. We can change our beliefs, we can change our thinking by doing three things: thinking correctly, speaking correctly, and then acting correctly. I realized after I wrote my talk that the 3 books I'm reading this month are all about those 3 things. I'm reading The Power of Decision by Raymond Charles Barker. I'm reading The Future We Choose by Christiana Figueres. And the 3rd book I'm reading is The Science of Mind Introduction. So I was like, what was that 3rd one again? Oh yes, it's the one we're talking about today. So the Science of Mind text is the philosophy, and it starts you thinking in a whole new way. Raymond Charles Barker, The Power of Decision, takes that philosophy, tells you how to change your thinking and also change the way you talk and act in the world. And then this current book, The Future We Choose, is an interesting look from my Science of Mind perspective at how we live with and navigate climate change in our very own lives, and what future do we choose, and what future do we implement through our thinking, our speaking, and our actions. So if we are going to have a more affirmative attitude of mind, we need to have a positive and stable attitude of mind, is what Ernest Holmes says. We unify ourselves with spirit that is already complete and perfect, as he says. It is whole, perfect, and complete. Whole, perfect, and complete. We felt that during the meditation before service, and we felt that in Reverend Ramona's beautiful spiritual mind treatment, coming into unification with that wholeness, that completeness, that perfection. Thinking correctly includes an optimistic look on life. It's about being able to intentionally identify, and then, as Christiana Figueres says, prescribe the desired future so that we can actively pull it forward. That's a fresh look at the way Ernest Holmes used to say things. Prescribe the desired future so as to actively pull it closer. Optimism is that force that enables you to create your new reality. The second thing we need to do is always speak correctly. We should be able to look circumstances as they are and then deny their reality verbally. Whoa, this is what makes a spiritual mind treatment effective. Yes, this is what spiritual mind treatment does. But when I was first coming into experience of this philosophy, I thought, that's lying. That's not telling it as it is. And I just couldn't do that yet. I wasn't at that place in my belief system where I could look a discordant fact in the face and tell it to be gone, as Ernest Holmes so firmly did. But we can use this technique, and that's exactly what I did. I used the 5 steps of treatment to turn my belief system around so that I actually can now look at wrong conditions and turn them around in my life. I can speak about them differently, and I can act as though the result I seek is already the truth. Let's give it a try. Here's one of Dr. Holmes's spiritual mind treatments. Life lies open to me, rich, full, and abundant. My thought, which is the key to life, opens doors for me. I am one with infinity, with divinity. I realize this unity. I proceed on my way as one who knows that God goes with him into an eternal day of infinite privilege. I have only to open the portals of my soul and accept that which is ready to express through me. Today, I fling these portals wide. Today, I am the instrument through which life flows. Honestly, I couldn't say a treatment like that at first. I couldn't say it like that for a long time. When I got into studies at my Science of Mind Center, just like the center you have in Placerville, I had to practice because that's part of the curriculum. You have to practice. And so I started writing out my treatments very, very brief and blunt and not a lot of feeling. But then I would take them in the car with me. And as I'm driving down the road, I would speak them. I would practice speaking them. I would say, I proceed on my way as one who knows that God goes with me into the eternal day of infinite privilege. And I would get used to hearing myself say them. Excuse me. I get so excited, my voice doesn't keep up with me sometimes. But I learned how to say a treatment like that. I learned how to believe a treatment like that. You know, it takes courage to shake off the routines of comfort and start adventuring into the control of your own life. Raymond Charles Barker wrote that. We are free to stay as we are always. That's one of the beautiful things about the science of mind, is that we are always free to make a choice. We can stay as we are as long as we want. But we know that we have the tools to change things if we want to. We can keep putting out the little fires in our lives, or we can let go of the fires and let them be gone. Doing this through believing it is, would we believe that things will always be the same, that there'll always be another shoe to fall, that there'll always be something else coming up in our life that we have to deal with? It's like believing in false hope that someday tomorrow will be better when we're not doing anything about it. Yes, wrong conditions definitely exist. We do not deny or bypass what we experience in the physical world. And the last 12 months have been so difficult and very trying. But we will get to the place where we can look at these wrong conditions with the knowledge that we can change them. And then we go ahead and we change them. We do this by changing our perspective on the situation, by remembering that God is present, even here and even now. We take the time daily to think about the truth, to meditate on qualities of God that we want to experience and manifest in our life. Let's try that right now. What would it look like if I owned my own home? Well, I would feel secure and I would feel safe. I would create a beautiful garden because I love gardening. I would have a comfortable bed and all the money I needed to pay my mortgage on time with grace and ease. That's what it would feel like to own my own home. And that's the kind of practice that the Science of Mind recommends to move you from a place of not having, not experiencing, to the place where it becomes a reality for you. In this way, you are not just observing your life and letting it happen to you. You are not just hoping, you are an active participant in your universe. Barker wrote, "Intelligence created you to live in these times because you are equipped to meet the challenges of these times. You are the right person in the right place to create the right world for yourself." We change the way we think about what is happening. We change the way we speak about what is happening. And then we take positive action and watch our experience become better than it was before. Let me give you an example from my own life. When I was first introduced to these teachings, I was, well, let's just say less than prosperous, just not making ends meet. Most of the time, tired of feeling lack every month. I was pretty downhearted actually about it ever changing. But then I learned some of the things we're discussing today, and I decided I wanted to be free of lack and limitation. I learned that God is an unlimited source of good, and that there are ways for me to connect with that source. In fact, the source was right where I am. I learned how the invisible, or that which I'm not seeing yet, passes into the visible, my everyday life, through my belief and faith in it. And then I started saying to myself, and you can create a similar affirmation for yourself that works for you. My needs are met. I want for nothing. My needs are met. I want for nothing. And I used it in meditation. I used it when I sat down to pay bills. And I used it when I walked into a store. The other thing I did was I carried a couple of dollar coins in my pocket, the little bronze ones that came out, I don't know, 20 years ago, maybe now. And I carried 2 of them in my pocket every day. As long as they were in my pocket and I put them in there off my dresser every day, I was not broke. Now, it wasn't that I only had $2. I saw and felt that I always had money in my pocket. And that was literally what shifted my knowledge that I have what I need, I want for nothing. I was never without the resources to buy what I needed. And that was a huge shift for me because I used to write down every penny I spent. I used to not carry cash with me because then I would just spend it. I don't know if anybody can relate to any of this, but this is the process that I went to early in my Science of Mind career to move from lack to prosperity. I trained my thinking to see abundance where I had previously known lack and seen lack. I started to expect that my needs were met, and I began to see it. Now, this is a key point. Until you've made the shift in your thinking, you're not going to see it in your experience, because it is our beliefs, it is our thinking, and it is the way we act in the world that changes the experience we have of the world. Interestingly, and these happy coincidences happen frequently once you get into this science of mind, my friend Keely Stevenson made these little affirmation cards. And this one that I happened to pull out of the deck while I was finishing my talk is from lack to abundance. So this is what it says on the card. Lack is a belief we are deficient or missing something. We create lack with our thinking about lack. When we stop preventing it in our thoughts and feelings, abundance is our natural state. All we need to do is open up, ask for, and feel abundance. Our natural abundance is health, wealth, love, and lush richness. I love the concept of lush richness. It just feels so good and warm and soft and delicious, doesn't it? But we have to work on changing our beliefs before we'll see the results. We speak our new beliefs, so we get used to hearing this new message. We come to places like this fine center, Mountainside CSL, and enjoy the community of like-minded people who are also speaking this new language that we're learning. And most importantly, we stop talking about what we don't want in our lives. We might have to do this more than once. At least that was my experience. We have to give up the things that get in the way of the results we're seeking. Ah, there's the catch. There's something we have to give up. Yes, there is. We have to give up limitation and lack. We have to give up unhealthy habits like negativity and worry. We have to, as Dr. Holmes wrote, work not with anxiety, but with expectancy, which was our reading before service. Our minds become attuned to this new way of thinking, speaking, and acting, and then it even becomes our natural and easy way of being in the world. You know, you can talk about water forever, but you're still going to be thirsty. You can talk about food all day long, but that will never satisfy your hunger. You can read about God, but you don't know the good of God unless you practice. So let's take the message into treatment now. I center myself in this knowing that God is whole, perfect, and complete. That there is only one thing going on in this life, and it is the power, the presence, and the love of God. It is moving in and through everything seen and unseen. I give thanks for the knowledge that it is right where I am. I live and move and have my very being as a divine expression of the One. And as such, I experience all those fabulous qualities of God, the lush richness of life, the abundance of beauty all around me, the wholeness and perfection of the flow of life upon itself. It moves in and through my life with grace and ease. And I am the joyful, grateful recipient of this good. And as such, knowing that God is right where I am, flowing in and through these words I speak right now, I speak my word for this community, knowing that each one of us is centered in this source, that it is right where each of us is. Feel it. Believe it. and know that it is the divine energy moving in and through every cell of the body temple. Anything unlike the divine is simply released from the body as we allow it to move through, as the breath moves through, as the nourishing blood carries away anything unlike the divine pattern of perfection, and our body is restored. Every cell, every muscle, every tissue, every organ is enlivened and refreshed. There is no place within the body that this divine energy does not touch, cleanse, and heal. I give thanks that this flow of divine energy also moves through life as abundance. There is freely giving and receiving of good, sharing of abundance in all ways. No lack in the mind of God, and there is no lack in our experience. Creative forms of self-expression bring new and prosperous ideas to each one of us, allowing us to meet our own needs pressed down and overflowing, that there is enough for ourselves and enough to share with those around us. This divine giving and receiving is such a blessing in the world. All needs are met right now. And I speak this word too for peace within ourselves that creates peace within the world. I know that the vibration of peace within my own body and mind goes out from here to touch the lives of everyone, everywhere. There is no place where this peace and love of God is not present. And I ramp it up within myself, allowing it to vibrate at a higher level than ever before, releasing the world from violence and discord of any kind, freely respecting and living in unity with our neighbors. There is love, there is peace, there is joy, there is abundance, and there is well-being everywhere I look. And so, with great gratitude, I allow this into my life and call it forth into each of our lives in greater expression than ever before. I release my word to the law of mind and spirit, allowing it to do its perfect work, because it does. And I am so grateful to watch as life unfolds in an amazing, amazing way. And please join me by anchoring this prayer, and so it is. Mahalo, which means thank you, and Amen.